The Promise Prologue by J. Thomas Stroud, Jr. A very great, very smart man of Earth once said, "The universe is not only larger than we imagine, but larger than we can imagine." For millennia, man has searched for the place called heaven by the only means possible, through poems, songs, prayers, and meditations. Thousands of cultures and hundreds of religions have sought this eternal place, resting so close to us and yet so far. Proxima Centauri, our nearest star, is a mere 4.5 billion miles away. Light travels at 299,792,458 meters per second. So, when we look at Proxima Centauri through a telescope, we are actually observing light that took about 4 years and 4 months to reach us. The beauty of equations like this is that they clearly and numerically illustrate the magnitude of our known universe. More than just an endless chasm of darkness, mankind discovers something new about the universe every year. Taking into account facts and figures like these, we can see why visiting even the outer rim of our galaxy, which spans 100,000 light-years, is unimaginable. Think about the other 50 billion galaxies. Despite all this information, new discoveries continue to pour in. The world's top scientists say that a human looking out into the universe is akin to an ant looking at a skyscraper, multiplied by 1 billion. So, how do men get to heaven? Why, when they die, of course. After we die and go to heaven, would we come back to let our friends and church members know what it's like? Are we allowed to come back? Will we want to return for just that short while? When we get back to Earth, will our loved ones and friends be able to hear what we have to say? Maybe that's it. Perhaps heaven cannot be reached by any physical means, just as many believe some places in space cannot be accessed physically. One thing is for sure. When we pass from this plane of existence to the next, many of these questions will be answered. Holy Writ from around the world tells of beings who traverse the heavens regularly to intercede on behalf of mankind. Would these beings, these angels, resent the fact that they must leave the grace of God in heaven to come to earth to serve humanity? That would be like leaving the Taj Mahal to live in a pigsty lined with defecation, multiplied by 1 billion. Imagine being asked to return to this sty to help someone who may not even believe in you, or who does but doesn't care. Now that's love. These musings are the reflections of theologians, those who study God and the principles of heaven. As man evolves mentally, so too does his understanding of heaven and his view of himself. These id fragments, engrams, thoughts of man that waft up on the thought waves of men, are carefully studied. Some say that as men live, while others claim that after we die, our thoughts are collected and brought before God for judgment. If this is so, what manner of being would perform such a task? Expanding outward like the ripples of a disturbed pond, these waves never weaken. They continue to expand along with the thought waves of every living person on the planet. Interlinking and passing through one another, they do so without disrupting one another. What manner of instrumentation, let alone what manner of being, would be capable of detecting these subtle emanations of energy? The being would have to possess the mental capability to process data at a rate that is all but incomprehensible to any equation known to man, or that will ever be known. It would need to run this data simultaneously on a quantum mechanical scale, staggering the combined equations that outline the structure of the universe itself. The being would have to be able to detect simultaneous waves of thought while discriminating between them. He or she would need to be able to contain and categorize the thoughts, hold them, and then transport them to a collection point. Were such a being to exist, this is what he or she might say. Sudar, an adjuster angel, carefully manages the new thoughts and prayers that have arisen from earth.
The minds of men become more and more intricate with each passing age. I am sure the Lord will grant favor to many of these. He may even allow me to answer some through divine intervention.
Sudar, carefully attending to the thoughts and prayers, arranges them for presentation to God when the time avails itself. Engrossed in her heavenly duties, she notices but has no time to lend her full attention to Lord Gabriel, who has just come into being and out.
Hmm, Gabriel is always in such a hurry. How blessed is he to have such direct responsibilities to our Lord.
Turning and gathering up the last of the thoughts, she too ascends to the great throne, in the same direction as Gabriel, but much slower. Gabriel, the angel of Annunciation, travels at the speed of thought, yet it is still not fast enough at times to reach his Lord. A lavender light now travels alongside Gabriel's deep blue brilliance.
Michael, I see you too have been summoned. It is good to see you again after such a long separation.
Indeed, Lord Gabriel, to summon us both simultaneously is truly rare.
Michael, the general of all the archangels of war, is never summoned casually. Ascending to heaven, the two brilliant spheres burst on sight from a light of indescribable brilliance. Becoming part of it, they travel in its brilliance until it separates into many faceted strands. Still travelling along this shaft of light, its source is now in sight. Slowing, the two fast-travelling beings drop from the shaft and separate to travel between their continuations. Approaching the shaft's source, the emanating light is seen in greater detail. The particles of light are actually alive, each with its own life. They move and swim in the unfettered light of love and joy. These individual souls manifest as ethereal beings of light. Their brilliance coalesces like the wings of bright butterflies. Effortlessly, they fly about in the company of the light that springs forth from what can now be seen as a massive throne. They are as much a part of this spiritual light as photons are a part of artificial light. Gabriel and Michael, in energy form, come down to rest at God's feet, faintly seen in the brilliance of his presence. The spheres shimmer and expand into humanoid forms. When they are finished, they come down on one knee and bend over so that both hands make flat contact with the ground. With their heads bowed, the enormous wings rise from their backs, swinging in an arc straight forward before rotating 90 degrees to be horizontally positioned relative to what might be the ground. This position leaves them, or anyone with wings in this fashion, in a vulnerable state, as the wings obstruct their relative sight. This is a posture of submission or prayer, and it is done in this fashion only by ranking archangels or higher. With the power to shake worlds, these two beings are like children before a loving father. They have served him for 1,000 millennia, and yet they still revel in his radiance. The towering throne extends far up into the light of his unending grace. The face of God is unseen, as rays like 1,000 suns come forth and flow onto all present. Only sandaled feet can be seen at the base of the throne. The two powerful beings do not move until they are acknowledged, and that acknowledgement comes in a way that no other can.
My children, welcome. My heart is warmed by your service and love.
They stand as the great wings fold back, but they are careful not to lift their gaze too high, lest they accidentally look into God's face. Their heads, however, are high enough to spy the ever-protective seraphim, the most powerful of all the angels, who were created first. With their flaming swords in hand, they guard both the throne and God, just as it is mentioned in the Holy Writ. Gabriel muses before God continues. Under this throne resides a storehouse of souls. God forged these extraordinary holy creatures from material left over after creating the many universes. They embody elements that very few sentient beings have seen or dreamed of existing. Like the warring archangels, the seraphim and cherubim are, for the most part, held in awe by the rest of heaven. Since the ousting of Hasatan, Satan, there has never been an angel against another angel. On the hierarchical ladder, Only these 3 types of angels are allowed to destroy other angels or humans. The seraphim always go where God goes. Never has one been known to speak, or if they can speak. Perhaps God made them devoid of sentient thought, or maybe they are secretly Him, as extensions of Himself. Whatever their secret is, no man or angel has ever survived to tell. For a while, it was rumoured that Michael himself went up against a seraphim. It was in the midst of the war to drive Satan and his followers out of heaven, filled with the confusion of God separating the sons of disobedience from the rest of heaven. Word has it that Michael was caught in the middle of the melee. When the seraphim were sent in, they also tried to take Michael down. It is no wonder that he is the leader of the archangels, holding his own against a combatant 100 times stronger than he is. Songs were sung in heaven for millennia about that fight and the ones that followed.
I wonder if my brother here ever thinks of a rematch.
Hermar to a Gabriel?
Yes, my lord, I am well. Forgive my distraction.
Not at all. This is why I called for an audience.
My lord.
Michael's thoughts were full of strength and life.
You know we are here for you. Just tell us your will. We live to obey you.
I have no doubt that you will. Both you and Gabriel have served me beyond measure. That is why I summoned you. I have a task of great importance that I must entrust to you both, and no other is to know of it.
Standing in the audience of God, there is no time for Gabriel to look over at Michael to see if he, too, looks as troubled. What, they wonder, would the Lord want to keep from the rest of heaven? The next words are all but unbelievable, and if all knew them, the message would shake the foundations of heaven.
For the first time since his fall, I cannot seem to find him. I have watched those who watch for ages unnamed. I know all there is to know, and all who are in all places. And should I not? Can I not? I took from me to form the heavens. There is nowhere to escape my gaze, and yet I cannot find him. I cannot find Satan.